Every now and then I have to remember that, like, the level of guitar that you and I can just find, that you can just go to a store, you can just look online, you can find a retailer. The quality of every single guitar that normal people, normal guitar players like you and me have access to is so remarkably better than it was 20 years ago. For guitars with unbelievable quality materials, there is no bigger competitor coming into the world than Eastman. Now, I've been slow on the uptake on Eastman. My first video I put out with them, I didn't know their brand, and I did that kind of on purpose. I wanted to show an authentic first reaction, first impression of them. And now, I know Eastman fairly well, and I've got one here that is monstrously good quality, and this one is one that you're definitely going to want to see. So I'm Jeremy, this is Guitar Hunter. Make sure you're subscribed. In this box is an Eastman E20-OM-MR-TC. Let's tear that apart as I open this box. E stands for the traditional series. 20 means that it is Adirondack spruce and a fancy rosewood back and sides. The OM is an orchestra model. Now, an interesting fact about this guitar that we're about to open is that it's actually a short scale, 24.9 inch, which puts it more into a triple O. But Eastman doesn't make triple O's, they just make OMs. Now, so E20-OM-MR. MR stands for Madagascar rosewood, which is a beautiful, deep, chocolatey brown rosewood. And from what I've seen of other Eastmans of this quality, they're really, really good quality materials. Very straight quarter sawn, kind of luthier's, a luthier's kind of cut of wood. Very tidy, very clean. Madagascar rosewood, and then TC stands for thermo-cured or torrefied. So that means there's going to be an Adirondack spruce top with beautiful ridges, beautiful dark, wide grain. This guitar should be an absolute monster. The last thing you need to know about this is that these cases are genuinely so incredibly high quality. There is no brand putting their guitars into better cases at the price point that Eastman is. No one. I don't mean to name names because I sell other brands of guitars when I work at Hometown Music, but I buy a lot of guitars, especially in the Guitar Hunter world, and there are no cases that are as wonderful and tidy and crisp. I mean, I would put these easily on quality with the high-end TKL cases. So you would spend $250 on a case to get kind of close to this and include it in the price. That riff, the wheels always fall off of that riff. I'm always like, there's a cool thing in a C sharp minor. So with an A, and then I'm like, oh, my middle finger can do something. And then I hit the same A. Let's do something else. Every now and then I have to remember that, like, the level of guitar that you and I can just find, that you can just go to a store, you can just look online, you can find a retailer. The quality of every single guitar that normal people, normal guitar players like you and me have access to is so remarkably better than it was 20 years ago. As you draw closer to the absolute top of what guitars can be, there are way more options now than there were 20 years ago. And of those options, each of them are better quality, better materials, and better price, and they pack more value. So this is an Eastman E20-OM-MR-TC. E is the traditional, 20 means Adirondack spruce and rosewood. This is MR, stands for Madagascar rosewood, and then TC stands for thermo cured. To do this guitar service, I'm going to run it through a 3-question gear review. If you're new to the channel, 3-question gear reviews are pretty straightforward. 1, what is great about this thing, or what's good about this thing? Number 2, what's bad about this thing? Number 3, if you're in the market, if you're looking for a guitar like this, and I had money in my pocket, would I buy this guitar, and should you buy this guitar? So let's dig in. What is good about this guitar? This guitar drips elegance, cool, thoughtful, beautiful. Eastman has done a thing that's really complicated to do. They have put themselves into rarefied air with a really great guitar that is light and nimble and articulate and wonderful and fun to play. Now, all of the good things about this, it has so much beautiful traditional styling, the open gear tuners, the really beautiful kind of ambery gold color top, the really stark, beautiful Adirondack spruce, which probably came from Boucher guitars. Amazing friends, incredible guitars. I'll put a card up here for Boucher guitars where we're out in the woods hunting down Adirondack spruce like this. The ebony bridge and the ebony fingerboard are beautiful and really wonderful. One of my favorite things that is really good about this guitar is that Eastman does this tiny little bevel on their fingerboards, and it makes their guitars really, really fun and comfortable to play. It just totally eliminates any chance for fret sprout. Well, it doesn't eliminate it, but it just makes it to where they feel really worn in and broken in. And but really thoughtful and cool. Other things that they've started to really nail. Eastman is, they kind of started from the ground up. They came up from affordable guitars, and still most of their guitars are pretty much affordable, and that's the thing they're aiming for. But one of the things they've landed, especially since their new, their ownership or their partnership with Bourgeois Guitars, not planned, I just happen to be wearing this hat, is that the tiny details that set factory guitars from boutique guitars apart, the gap is closing. The quality of the saddle, the quality of the nut, the fitment of both of these things is remarkable. You are getting a full boutique guitar. Now, the last thing we have to talk about is the quality of these tuners. They are incredible. They're a brand I'm not familiar with, so they just say SX510, so I'm assuming the 510 is probably having to do something with the ratio of the gears, but they're just generally, they're a bit overbuilt, but they're still essential. And so it's kind of a play on a very trusted style of brass gear, nickel plated tuner housing. On the front of the headstock, you have this beautiful Madagascar rosewood headplate overlay, which is really excellent. I like this a lot. It's a good kind of move away. It shows somebody from, 10 or 15 feet that this is a Madagascar rosewood. Because it's pretty dark, you wouldn't necessarily see it. But coming to the best thing, we have to talk about the back of this guitar and the sides of this guitar. Beautiful, really special and straight-grained, deep, wonderful, beautiful, articulate Madagascar rosewood. Now, all of this guitar is bound in beautiful white and black and herringbone binding, perfing, and this guitar is just, it lands so many of the details. Now, for all the praise I have for this guitar, I do have things that I'm critical about this guitar. There's kind of a couple little corners that get cut, in my opinion. This guitar still, okay, here's one that is pretty much feels like nonsense, but I hope you play enough guitars and smell enough guitars that you get to know what I'm saying is actually true and accurate. As someone who has owned thousands of guitars, as someone who has played probably tens of thousands of expensive guitars at this point, that's amazing. Thank you for watching these videos. I can't believe that I get to say that, and that's true. I've been able to be around as many guitars as I can be. This guitar smells like a guitar made in China. Maybe it's the glue they make, maybe it's the finish they make, maybe it's the glue in the case that comes over from China, maybe it's just how much more time these guitars spend in their case compared to guitars in the US that get made in like Pennsylvania and sent to me in Virginia. This guitar smells different. Now, the other thing, and this is one thing, okay, that's a kind of a throwaway. The thing that I actually don't like, and I wish that they wouldn't do, they put a gloss on the bridge. Can you see that? Look at the shine on the bridge. They either polish it or they put some finish on it. Either way, it is my immediate clue that this is not a full boutique expensive guitar. It bothers me. It drives me crazy. I wish they wouldn't do it. It's just a tiny detail. I don't know why they do it. It's probably just a thing that somebody thinks is helping, but it just, and maybe it is better, but it just breaks the gate of traditionalists, purists, people that are around others. So if you want to be in your contemporaries, it's one of the only ways that I can really spot from 10 or 15 feet away that this guitar is made in China. And that it just is a different mode of building a guitar. Now, with all of that said, let me culminate my thoughts into this. Should you buy this guitar? For $2,215 or something like that, this guitar is unrivaled. It is remarkable. There is no guitar that comes close to it as far as these features, the quality of this thing, the feel of this thing, the sound of this thing. It still does not quite have the low end and bass. Maybe this guitar will break in. I've heard that Madagascar Rosewood takes 6 to 8 months of hard playing to really open up, but it still feels a little tight. So if you would buy this guitar, if you would look for a guitar with similar specs, you would be at remarkably more money. It would be what, a Martin OM28 Marquis to get, or an Authentic to get into a Rosewood to get Madagascar Rosewood. You look at Thompson guitars, you'd probably be $6 or $7 grand for Madagascar. You look at pre-war Bourgeois, you look at other brands, you're at 2 or 3 times the price for this. So this guitar is really, really well built, wonderful. It's a good price. I have been pleasantly surprised, but I am still hesitant about resale value of these guitars. And I know that I am not the norm. Normally, people look at guitars and they say, well, if I'm buying it, I'm not planning on selling it. For me, I don't want to say I have one foot out the door, but I always want to own a thing that at least holds its value. And I don't buy many new guitars. So anyway, this is my own baggage. I'm working through it. But if I were you, if I were looking for this guitar, the fit, the quality of the features is unrivaled. It's a great price. And so I would give it a full-hearted, if you're looking for if you're a professional musician looking to play, if you want a guitar that has really incredible build quality on the materials. With all of that said, I have a full-hearted, you should buy one of these. These are great guitars. I'm excited for them. I like Eastman as a company. They are working. They're working to bring as much value as they can to a guitar audience that's pretty underserved. So, man, we're in the best times to be acoustic guitar lover. So from one ordinary guitar player to you, hopefully most of you are better than me. But thanks for watching this video. I'm Jeremy. I'm the Guitar Hunter. And make sure you subscribe. Check out the links in the description down below. You can find these. You can also find my friends that sell these guitars around the country. The Acoustic Shop, Doug at Guitar San Diego, Hometown Music here in Harrisonburg. All of them are Eastman dealers, and I wholeheartedly support them, and I'm thankful for the friendship and the music that I get to feature on this channel. So, thanks for watching. I'm Jeremy. See you later. Well, with all of that said, this is the Eastman OM E20